Hello friends, welcome back, and for anyone who's new, welcome. Today you are finding me here in the beautiful Virginia woods, and I decided something that I've been called to share. As you know, I like to create these videos very intuitively, and I really only create when I feel the call to create. Today I'm feeling the call to share with you, my morning practice and my morning routine. I am a firm believer, as someone who is a very mind-based human and whose Gemini mind can sometimes cycle. I'm a firm believer that having a steady morning practice is such an important way to start our day and to really set the energy that we're going to experience for that day. This is something that I think is sacred to the individual and something that we all have the ability to develop and nurture within ourselves. I, for instance, because of how very mind-based I can be, like to keep my hands busy and do things that will then settle my mind or set the stage really for how my mind will be that day. Whereas Azriel is he likes to start his day much more physically with doing yoga and meditation, which maybe I'll convince him to share some of that one of these days. But this is something that I do honestly most of the time on the bus, in my bed, with my cup of coffee. Today I have already drank my coffee, so this is our homemade jun that I am drinking. But I like to, before I leave the bus, before I go out into the world, I really want to find my center for that day and find the energy that really I am going to be centered in. For me, sometimes that takes different things. Sometimes I take out my notebook and I journal and I write ideas down and I write about my days. This is usually what I do after I've had a lot of dreams and my mind has been very active overnight. Writing always tends to settle that down. Another practice I have, which a lot of you have seen, is I love to doodle and draw and paint and take the energy that's within here and put it into an illustrated version. These are things I do when I'm feeling creative, my mind is going fast, and I need ways to settle me down. Other times, when my mind tends to be overwhelmed, or sometimes I would consider stagnant, I will then turn to my inner guidance for inspiration through pulling cards. This is something that I do almost daily, no matter what is going on with my mind. I think it's just the amount of cards I end up pulling is really indicative to how I'm feeling. Jupiter, the planet of evolution, just moved into Gemini for the next year, and that is a very mind-based planet, and I think that's why I'm being called to share this information to help us all use our minds as the beautiful creation tools that they are. For when we have our minds centered and in balance within our bodies, that is when beauty and harmonious co-creation happens all around us. It's when our mind is scattered or stagnant, where a lot of dis-ease and mental disorder comes in. And those two things can really throw you off center, which is why I have developed these practices throughout my life. And then some days, if I'm just feeling like I need inspiration from others, because I do feel that all that we need is within us, but sometimes that energy can feel a little depleted. That is when I love to turn to others for inspiration. I will listen to podcasts from Molly McCord, who is a beautiful astrologer. I will listen to Heather Ensworth, who is just another astrologer, medicine woman, who just has all of this divine earth guidance. Pam Gregory, another earth angel, but who is connected to a lot of these galactic energies, has helped guide me, as well as the energetic alchemist, someone who I've personally connected with, who has really helped in my flow and my guidance. I will leave their information down below just so you don't have to remember these things, but again, as tools that I use to help me. Or if we are staying off grid and I don't have access to internet, books are a beautiful way for me to center, learn. As a lifetime learner, I truly feel that as human beings, we are never in a state where we are not learning. We are always here to learn more, increase our capacity, and so books can help me with that. These are the books that I have currently sitting next to my bed. I'm not one to fully just read through something. I'm very much a chapter at a time, page at a time, read, let it digest, and then go on from there. So I usually have a few books in rotation depending on how I'm feeling. I just started reading Ayurveda of the Mind, but it's specifically about healing our consciousness and connecting our mind and our body to help aid in that healing. This is something that I'm reading really a chapter, which is a couple pages at a time, letting it sink in, and then coming back to it when I feel called. This is the 4th book that I have read by Mary Summer Rain. She is a beautiful soul who has connected to her past lives within Native American culture and healing and learning, and all of her books have a different, she's sharing her path and her journey, and so I appreciate a lot of that first-hand wisdom. If you see me keep looking up, it's because there are robins and cardinals, and there was just a hawk. All the birds are coming to commune with me this morning, as I thoroughly enjoy. And then the last book I have here is Poetry by Mary Oliver. She is someone who really connects with nature, writes about nature, and when I am struggling for inspiration, these books honestly really, her poetry has this way of sparking light within me, very much as like Emerson or Thoreau will do, but with light and a little bit less darkness and darkness behind it. In fact, I'm going to, while we sit here, I will open to a random page. We'll see what the universe has in store for us today, and I will read that poem. This poem is entitled Sometimes, and it has 7 parts. So, enjoy. 1. Something came up out of the dark. It wasn't anything I had ever seen before. It wasn't an animal or a flower, unless it was both. Something came up out of the water, a head the size of a cat, but muddy and without ears. I don't know what God is. I don't know what death is, but I believe that I believe they have between them some fervent and necessary arrangement. 2. Sometimes melancholy leaves me breathless. 3. Later, I was in a field full of sunflowers. It was the feeling of heat of midsummer. I was thinking of the sweet electric drowse of creation when it began to break. In the west, clouds gathered, thunderheads. In an hour, the sky was filled with them. In an hour, the sky was filled with the sweetness of rain and the blast of lightning, followed by the deep bells of thunder. Water from the heavens, electricity from the source, both of them mad to create something. The lightning brighter than any flower, the thunder without a drowsy bone in its body. 4. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. 5. 2 or 3 times in my life, I discovered love. Each time it seemed to solve everything. Each time it solved a great many things, but not everything. You left me as grateful as if I had indeed and thoroughly solved everything. 6. God, rest in my heart and fortify me. Take away my hunger for answers. Let the hours play upon my body. Like the hands of my beloved, let the cat head appear again, the smallest of your mysteries. Some wild cousin of my own blood, probably. Some cousin of my own blood, probably. In the black dinner bowl of the pond. And 7. Death waits for me. I know it around one corner or another. This doesn't amuse me, neither does it frighten me. After the rain, I went back into the field of sunflowers. It was cool, and it was anything but drowsy. I walked slowly and listened to the crazy roots in the drenched earth, laughing and growing. Through all of the phases and feelings of life, I just had a spider on my hand, and now, as you can see, it just crawled up the lens. The roots that we dig into this earth and are nurtured here create the webs that we shall weave within this lifetime and all the other lifetimes that we have sustained. And as we ground ourselves and we create and set our own energy for the day, we are able to create such beauty that our minds can't quite comprehend it yet. And so during this Jupiter and Gemini transit, I challenge us all to settle our minds, to create from within, and to know that all the power for everything and anything you seek starts right here. That's lovely. This poem, as you can see, she really does inspire, and nature just has a beautiful way of reflecting that, which is why I do like to come outside into nature to have these reflections, because it is almost like an instantaneous response to the settling of the mind or the creation within the mind. You can instantly see it around you. I now have that spider weaving a web on the camera, which is the tool that I use to share and create with. I think to start or to finish this video, I am going to do a card pull. It is something that I used to do very often. I have not done it in a long time. I do it for myself often, but I mean, I've not done it publicly for a while. But I want to share with you how I do so and how I use my inner wisdom to, well, work within myself and help to show me my path forward every day.